The emergency klaxon screamed through the diplomatic vessel as it lurched violently to port. Lieutenant Marcus Webb gripped the bulkhead, his knuckles white against the polished metal. Across the corridor, the young Valthrine princess stumbled, her iridescent scales catching the flickering emergency lights. "Stay down," Marcus shouted, throwing himself forward as another explosion rocked the ship. Pirates. Of course, it had to be pirates on what was supposed to be a routine escort mission through neutral space. Princess Lyra looked up at him with those enormous golden eyes, fear evident despite the alien features. She was young by Valthrine standards, barely into adulthood, and this was her first journey beyond her home system. The cultural exchange program was meant to build bridges between humanity and the Valthrine Empire, not end in bloodshed. The ship shuddered again. Marcus could hear the telltale screech of hull breaches being sealed by emergency systems. They were running out of time. "We need to get to the escape pods," he said, helping Lyra to her feet. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her reptilian frame elegant despite its power. The traditional diplomatic robes she wore were now torn and singed. "The others," she whispered, her voice melodic even in terror. "My attendants, the crew, are trained for this," Marcus interrupted, though his jaw tightened. He knew the odds. Pirate raids on diplomatic vessels were brutal and swift. "My job is to keep you alive." They moved through the smoke-filled corridors, Marcus leading with his sidearm drawn. The standard-issue plasma pistol felt inadequate against whatever forces had boarded the ship, but it was all he had. His combat armor was back in his quarters, 3 decks away. There was no time. A figure emerged from the smoke ahead. Marcus fired twice, dropping the pirate before the attacker could raise his weapon. 2 more appeared, and Marcus shoved Lyra behind a bulkhead as he engaged them. The firefight was brief, but intense. 1 pirate fell. The other's shot grazed Marcus's shoulder, burning through his uniform jacket. He ignored the pain and kept moving, pulling Lyra along. Almost there. The escape pod bay doors loomed ahead, partially sealed but still accessible. Marcus could see 3 pods still docked. Hope surged in his chest. They might actually make it. Then the corridor exploded. The blast threw Marcus forward. He hit the deck hard, his weapon skittering away across the floor. His ears rang. Blood ran down his face from a cut above his eye. Through blurred vision, he saw them. 4 pirates in heavy combat gear, advancing with weapons raised. Behind him, Lyra screamed. Marcus didn't think. Training and instinct took over. He launched himself at the nearest pirate, tackling the armored figure with everything he had. They went down in a tangle of limbs. Marcus drove his elbow into the pirate's throat, feeling something crunch. He grabbed the fallen weapon and rolled, firing blindly at the others. 1 pirate dropped. Another's return fire burned across Marcus's ribs, and he gasped at the white-hot agony. Still, he kept firing, kept moving, placing himself between Lyra and the attackers. The 3rd pirate aimed at the princess. Marcus threw himself into the line of fire. The plasma bolt caught him square in the chest. The impact was like being hit by a shuttle. Marcus felt his ribs crack, felt the burning sensation spread through his torso. He collapsed, his vision darkening at the edges. Somewhere far away, he heard more weapons fire, heard shouting. Reinforcements, maybe. The ship's security finally responding. As consciousness faded, Marcus saw Lyra's face above him, her golden eyes wide with tears that sparkled like diamonds. He tried to speak, to tell her to run, but no words came. The darkness took him. He woke to softness. For a moment, Marcus thought he was dead. Then pain reasserted itself, a dull throb that encompassed his entire body. He groaned, and immediately a presence moved beside him. "You live," a voice said. Not Lyra's melodic tone, but something deeper, ancient, carrying the weight of authority. The human lives. Marcus forced his eyes open. He lay in a bed of impossible comfort, surrounded by walls that seemed to shift and shimmer with bioluminescent patterns. Valthrine technology. And standing beside the bed was a figure that could only be royalty. Queen Desha of the Valthrine Empire stood nearly 8 feet tall, her scales a deeper blue than her daughter's, marked with the golden patterns of age and wisdom. She wore armor rather than robes, and her bearing spoke of a warrior queen who had earned her throne through strength. "Your Majesty," Marcus croaked, trying to sit up. Pain lanced through his chest, and he fell back. "Be still," Desha commanded. "Your injuries were severe. Our healers have done much, but even our technology cannot undo such damage instantly. You nearly died, Lieutenant Webb. 3 broken ribs, a punctured lung, severe plasma burns. You should have died." "The princess," Marcus managed. "Is she safe because of you?" Desha's expression was unreadable. "My daughter lives because a human threw himself in front of enemy fire. Because you valued her life above your own." Marcus wanted to say that it was his duty, his job, that any soldier would have done the same. But the words wouldn't come. He had acted on instinct, yes, but it had been more than training. In those final moments, he had seen Lyra's fear, had recognized in her the same vulnerability he saw in his own younger sister back on Earth. He had protected her because she deserved protecting, not because orders demanded it. "Among my people," Desha continued, her voice taking on a formal quality, "there is an ancient law. A life debt. When one saves another at great personal cost, especially royalty, a bond is formed. A debt that must be honored." Marcus shook his head slightly. "I don't want anything. I was just doing my job. Nevertheless, the debt exists." Desha turned, and for the first time, Marcus noticed Lyra standing in the shadows behind her mother. The princess stepped forward, her expression a mix of gratitude and something else Marcus couldn't identify. "My daughter has expressed her wishes," Desha said, "and I, as queen, have considered the matter carefully. You are young, Lieutenant, barely 30 cycles by our counting. My daughter is also young, and her heart has spoken clearly in this matter." Marcus felt his confusion growing. "I don't understand. When she has completed her education and reached full maturity," Desha interrupted, her golden eyes boring into his. "When 5 cycles have passed and the time is proper, my daughter will be yours, human, if you wish it. This is my decree." The words hung in the air like thunder. Marcus stared, his mind struggling to process what he was hearing. Marriage to an alien princess. To Lyra. "Mother," Lyra said softly, speaking for the first time. "May I?" Desha nodded and stepped back. The princess approached the bed, her movements graceful, despite her size. She knelt so her eyes were level with Marcus's. "You do not have to accept," she said quietly. "I know our peoples are different. I know this must seem strange to you. But when I saw you fall, when I thought you were dead, something inside me broke. You gave everything to protect me. A stranger, an alien. You saw me not as a political tool or a symbol, but as someone worth saving." Her golden eyes shimmered. "In 5 years, I will have completed my studies. I will have traveled to many worlds and met many beings. But I already know that I will find none braver, none more honorable than you. So I ask this, will you wait? Will you consider this possibility?" Marcus looked into those alien eyes and saw something profoundly familiar. Hope, fear, the vulnerability of someone offering their heart. How many human-alien marriages had there been? A handful, maybe. The cultural differences alone were staggering. His family would be shocked. Command would have a fit. The media would explode. But he had nearly died for her. And in that moment of sacrifice, something had changed in him too. He had seen past the scales and the alien form to the person beneath. Young, frightened, but possessed of a strength he recognized. 5 years, he said slowly. That's a long time. It is, Lyra agreed. A lot could change. You might feel differently. I might feel differently. Yes. Marcus took a breath, wincing at the pain in his ribs. Then I'll wait. And when the time comes, we'll see where we both stand. That's all I can promise. The smile that lit Lyra's face was radiant. That is all I ask. Queen Nesha stepped forward again, her expression grave but satisfied. So it is decreed. 5 years from this day, if both parties are willing, the union will be formalized. In the meantime, Lieutenant Webb will be granted full diplomatic status and access to our worlds. He will learn our ways as my daughter learns his. When the time comes, the choice will be made with full understanding. She placed a clawed hand on Marcus's shoulder, surprisingly gentle. You have proven yourself worthy of our highest honor, human. Few of any species can claim such. Heal well. There is much ahead of you. As the queen withdrew, Lyra remained by the bedside. She reached out hesitantly and took Marcus's hand. Her scales were warm, her grip careful of his injuries. Thank you, she whispered, for my life and for your honesty. Marcus squeezed her hand gently. Thank you for seeing past what I am. You are a hero, Lyra said simply. That is what you are. Outside the medical bay, the stars wheeled in their eternal dance. 2 species, reaching across the void to find common ground. 1 man who had nearly died. 1 woman who would not forget. And 5 years to discover what the future might hold. It was, Marcus thought as exhaustion pulled him back toward sleep,